Hello, good morning. I am Junaid Qadir. I'm happy to present this work. The paper is titled A Critical AI Approach for Managing the Risks of Educational Metaverses. Just for some introduction, I'm a professor of computer engineering at the Computer Science and Engineering Department at the College of Engineering at Qatar University. I would like to acknowledge that this work was done as part of a Qatar University high impact grant in which we are exploring how to develop secure and robust AI for metaverse. So in this paper, we focus on how we can develop human beneficial AI applications, and we see how AI has both promises and also pitfalls, and we should be cognizant of both. So we present what we call a critical AI approach. So the outline of the presentation would be as shown on the slide. So I will initially talk of opportunities and risks of educational metaverses. I will then highlight what the critical AI approach is. And finally, we will mention some strategies that we can use to mitigate the risk that arises when we use AI in educational settings. So just to provide some background, XR or extended reality is an umbrella term which covers augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality, technologies that have been brewing over time. So let's first of all see virtual reality. When we talk of virtual reality, we are talking of donning a headset and going into a computer-generated digital world, which is a wholly artificial digital environment. When you do that, you disconnect from the physical reality and you go into this artificial digital environment. And you can have immersive, interactive, simulated experiences therein. And in the metaverse in particular, you also have the shared presence through which you can interact with other people who are also there in the digital environment, and you can have real experiences that provide a feeling of shared mutual presence. We can also talk of augmented reality. In augmented reality, we have the physical world complemented with digital objects, or you have additional information overlaid on to your physical world to create an immersive and interactive virtual content that is spatially registered to the real world. So we have many AR applications. We also have mixed reality in which you have elements of both the physical world and the virtual digital world intermixed in a way that combines both of these two worlds. So we now use this term extended reality to refer to all of these technologies. Many new technologies have come up which are enabling this vision of an XR-based metaverse, such as spatial computing, the spatial web, haptic technology. We have new software libraries that are giving support to people who want to create metaverse applications. We also have now companies that big, large corporations who are focusing on creating products and services for the metaverse. So the metaverse itself is quite broad, but what is agreed upon is that this metaverse will incorporate features of AI and it will incorporate XR technology. So when we see AI, in particular Gen AI, we see many new capabilities. So AI has been with us for many decades, but especially in the last 2 or 3 years, there's a lot of interest in generative AI or Gen AI because it gives us unprecedented features. It basically enables a new kind of intelligence in which we are not just carrying out some narrow AI tasks on particular niche applications, but it is like a virtual person who you can converse with, who has a lot of knowledge in a lot of fields, and who you can give particular roles to and get the requisite information and the requisite output in the formats that you like. So this is a book Ethan Mollick has written in which he likens the modern AI LLM-based, the large language model-based tools, to be a new kind of a co-intelligence. This technology has been very disruptive for education. So we see that this technology has been used in medical education, business education, engineering education. And we have seen that many of the things we do in the educational domain can be disrupted through the introduction of this technology. Many new opportunities also arise. Like I have this book cover in which the authors talk about how AI can basically create a revolution in the medicine or the healthcare industry. When we talk of Gen AI for the metaverse, we can use it for creating conversational interfaces, for implementing natural language processing, for processing the emotions or the anything related to image and computer vision. We can also have digital twins. We can have avatar generation. These kinds of applications are well suited to AI. Now, after having introduced AI, let me now talk of opportunities and risks, in particular for education. The most important application is that it allows us to have a unique first-person experience that is immersive, that can allow us to enhance human perception, and we can take our learners to the environment in which they are the thing that they are studying. So it's not about studying about a thing. They can be in that environment and they can experience things in the first person sense. So that is new about XR. And when we also mix that with AI and Gen AI, many new capabilities emerge. For example, you could have virtual persons there who are effectively acting as a virtual TA. You could have virtual coaches. This is an opportunity. Later on, we will also see some risks that are related to having generative, entities, and what are the potential issues there. But let's continue and talk about more opportunities. AR and VR can be used to provide emotional support. You could create special environments that are customized for particular learners, and we could. There has been a lot of literature which shows that AR VR can be used to provide emotional support. It can be used to manage stress and anxiety. We could take people to another imaginary world in which the problems related to anxiety, stress can be lessened. Or people have also used it, for example, for managing pain in healthcare. During surgeries, patients should be shown certain environments in which the people are transported to that world, and the stress they're facing, the pain they're facing in this world actually lessens according to the studies that have been conducted. It also allows for more inclusiveness. You could, for example, create environments that are tailored to the needs. We could have more personalized education. It can be more accessible. You could emphasize certain senses more depending on the learners that we have. It can be used for creating awareness because it allows people to have this first person experience. We could actually live in someone's body, or we could experience what it feels like to be like a person in a particular environment, which can allow people to have more empathy. It allows more awareness for problems such as racism, war, and discrimination, things that we cannot really feel without actually being in that situation. We could also use AR, VR for doing simulations and what if analysis on things that are expensive to do, or maybe things that are dangerous. So this can allow us to, in healthcare, for instance, we could simulate things to give practice to the learners. And also we could do counterfactual analysis to plan for potential future. So this could be used for teaching strategy or for teaching how to act in environments that have uncertain outcomes. There are many risks as well, and we focus on that in our paper. We highlight how experts are highlighting if we depend too much on AI, especially in metaverses, and we are building educational metaverses. If we rely too much on AI, there is this potential of descaling. When people rely too much on AI and automation, the intrinsic skills of the learners may actually not be fully developed, and there might be this addiction on the tools. And because of that, the performance of the learners without these tools might be actually less. So this is referred to as descaling. We could also have disruption of human interactions because of this virtual world, and our learners might be tempted to spend the bulk of their time in these digital worlds. So how do we design educational metaverses so that it is used, but in environments that actually strengthen actual physical human interactions, the interactions between the students and the teacher, which is vital not only for passing on knowledge, but also for developing skills that are necessary for practical performance and for actually living in a society in which there are multiple human beings interacting with each other. With AI XR, the risk of privacy and surveillance is also very high, especially with AI and XR, the modern technology. We could do very invasive monitoring. We could even track what people are feeling. We could track their physiological signals. We could even track their eye gaze. So in the wrong hands, if we develop these educational metaverses, but they are used, for instance, by large corporations for selling things to us or for advertisement, this technology can be abused, and we could have grave privacy risks and many ethical concerns. Overuse of these technologies can also impact mental well-being. We should also talk about the concentration of power, which is very important for critical pedagogy and critical AI, whether everyone would have access to the foundational technology that is needed for educational metaverses. What rules and what regulations would be there in place to ensure that there are no manipulative practices? There are also some ethical concerns that arise when we mix realities. So how would our learners who are, they might not have this skill developed to properly distinguish real and virtual experiences. So how would we actually ensure that they are able to distinguish reality from fiction, and in a way that is pro-social, and it is also something that does not disrupt the psyche of people? So let me now talk about the critical AI approach that we're talking about. So we have mentioned these risks. So what we are proposing is that we keep all of these risks in mind as we design the appropriate pedagogy, the appropriate literacy requirements that are needed when we have AI education technology introduced into the classroom. So we did some initial study. I wrote this paper in 2023 for engineering education. However, we need to go beyond this. We need to have this framework with appropriate literacy competencies and this pedagogy properly designed so that we do not bypass the educational process that we are trying to actually improve. So when it comes to Gen AI, it's important to realize that it is not as trustworthy as we might think it is. These models, they often work as black box models. So even the founders of these companies, they highlight how it would be a mistake to rely on these things for anything important. In the machine learning world, we have this interesting story of a horse called Hans, which is referred to as clever Hans, which was purported to actually do some arithmetic. If you ask this question, if you ask this horse a question like a multiplication question, it would give you the right answer. And it was actually, the horse was it had many shows in front of people, and every time it was asked a question, it would solve the question correctly. Later on, it was shown that the horse had actually just learned how to react in a way that makes people happy, and the horse was actually looking for other cues. It did not really have this math skill. So similarly, when we talk of the Gen AI models, we can question whether they actually know this thing, or are they just giving this illusion or this appearance of giving us the right answer. So we do not really know, because like Hans, the clever Hans horse, it was shown that it could not perform in situations it was not trained for. So if Hans was asked maths questions in an environment where we did not have a crowd, so the horse would not perform properly. So we don't yet know where LLMs would not perform properly. We see the problem of hallucinations reported, where these LLMs can create statements and assertions out of thin air. And that is a big problem when we are talking of education. Even if these models are very accurate, we cannot use them for critical things such as education, and for education in topics where it is important to actually know the facts. So there are many fields in education where knowing the exact facts is important, and it would be a mistake to uncritically use AI in these subjects. In the metaverse also, we have this problem of surveillance capitalism, which refers to the author Shoshana Zuboff calls it as a perverse economic model that modern technological companies have come up with to monetize technology. But there is great harm that can emerge from this, particularly for users who are now treated as a commodity, and their attention is actually sold through advertisements. The author makes the case of why this is not a good model and what other options are there. We also see in the other books highlighted by Nicholas Carr that automation has many downsides as well. So if we want to use the metaverse, we want to use Gen AI, XR, we must be aware of the potential downsides of the technological utopia we are creating. There is a difference between technology as a tool and technology as a media. And many people think of AI as just a tool, and they liken modern AI with the calculator. But this is not a very helpful analogy, because Gen AI is not like a tool. Gen AI is not like a calculator. With a calculator, we know what the calculator is doing and what the answer would be. But we don't have any such guarantees with modern Gen AI. Some people liken Gen AI to be like a new kind of a digital species. We also need to realize that with many AI applications, we are actually accessing information and having interactions through it. So it acts like a media. And then there is this danger about commodity, treating human beings as a commodity and sacrificing our privacy and our focus. So we need to ensure that the technology we use actually strengthens our relationship with ourselves and the world. We need to design our educational metaverses so they are human-centered, they enhance agency, and they enhance our relationships with others and with the world, and they also enhance our unaided capability. So now let me just briefly talk of some strategies we can use to mitigate risk. We need to ask these questions. These questions refer to various facets of the design of educational metaverses. We need to ensure that our purposes are correct. We are actually trying to enhance human engagement with the physical world and real world issues, and we're not just using these technologies as a distraction. We need to look at accessibility as well. We need to look at the system level repercussions of the use of these technologies and what would be the long-term effects of these technologies. So there must be some ethical foresighting in which we do not just use the technology because it is there, but we think about what would be the long-term implications. Especially when we are talking of the education of children, we need to also look at diversity We need to look at culture. We need to also ensure transparency. So I have a few guidelines here through which we can judge whether our AI XR metaverse is properly designed or not. We should ensure that our educational metaverses engage our human abilities and actually develop them further. We should not use these technologies to disrupt human relationships. We should prioritize human workforce development, have the AI literacy programs that are necessary for all people to benefit from this technology. We should identify places and avenues for developing human AI synergy rather than not thinking about it and eventually having human beings actually displaced from their jobs. We need to actually aim for the synergy that is pro-social, and it helps improves the lives of people. And we can use these systems to expand our reach. So there are places, there is definitely opportunities for using AI XR metaverse, but we make the case that we should be critical in how we embrace these technologies. We should demand transparency in data collection and algorithm evaluation. We should try to know if there are any biases, and we should try to mitigate those biases. And we should have robust evaluation of model performance, and security must also be catered to for these systems. So with this, I come to the end of my presentation. I thank you for your time and attention, and I would be very happy to receive your comments and suggestions at this email address. Thank you very much.